All right, welcome back to part two of class four. Keith Richards' birthday today. He's 80 years old. Who saw that coming, you know? Not me. I want to show you one extra thing that's just now occurring to me with Bag's Groove, and maybe you can kind of hear both versions. So, like, if I'm playing this on the computer here, the notes, the pitch is solid. I can add some bending or some vibrato. Now that's pretty extreme, but there's room. So it can be a the two notes that would really be bend worthy would be the A flat and the E flat. But any of them are fair game. Just an idea of a way to make it a little more expressive, and it's a thing that horn players do all the time. And just pushing the pitch a little bit, adding vibrato, and singers also. It can be a way to make it more expressive and to vary it up a little bit. All right. Just really briefly, and I didn't print out these parts, but they're in the sound slice. If this were a horn band, and we were like, eighth grade or something, maybe more like fifth grade, and we were playing Bag's Groove, the best trumpet, alto, and tenor players would play piano player, be playing some sort of chords, they'd all be written out. And the other 30 horn players would be playing something like and I'll show you what those parts sound like. And again, they're in the sound slice, but you might miss them. Let me add them here so you can hear them. And I'll just go ahead and do a screen share on this one. And remember to share sound so it sounds even better. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so there's this little horn part here and here, and they're in harmony. Though they both start on F, most of the time they quickly diverge into different things. I'll play the top line first, then the second line. And it goes with the tune. Part here. That's kind of cool. Oh yeah, this one's a little weird. The horn parts often are. It's gonna go into the solo from there, but let me do a better job at playing that low harmony here. reason I'm bringing that up is that if we were, if we had my dream of, starting in our fifth grade jazz band together, um, you'd have to play that part. And every song you'd be playing little parts like that. And then the teacher would be saying it's the one chord, and you'd be looking at, well, what? Why am I playing a F and a C? Oh, it's an F9. Okay, those are in there. Okay, I get it. They keep saying that, and then the notes just fit the chords in some kind of cool ways. Like on measure 5 in that B flat, it's the F and the A flat note, which is just kind of cool sounding, but kind of odd too to put those two together. Um, by the time you played the melody, you would have understood single note parts, smaller rhythms that are part of the bigger picture. And there's just no replication for that other than being in a differentiated group. And but I wanted to give you at least a little taste of that. It's also, you can make solos out of either of these, and just kind of find some cool little rhythms. And lastly, really just listen to it, how it talks to the tune. 1, 2, 3. Bum, bum. Gets out of the way. Bum, 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 bum. Answers it there. Dun, dun. Just filling in the space. Slightly different rhythm. And so the tune stays the same 3 times. This changes every 3 times. 3 different rhythms and note to go with it, to follow the chords, but just gives you some micro, musical ideas that sometimes these little things can be really useful. And it's the kind of thing, for the most part, this would go away. And that's, like the horn players are just sitting there until it's their turn to solo. And then it would come back when the tune came back. But sometimes they have parts worked out for a solo or two as well, which can be really cool, make it real organized. Or sometimes they play that same part the whole way through. There's different ways. It kind of depends on what people are going for there. But just wanted to give you some exposure to some real simple parts that could open up some new doors for you. All right, so I'm mostly going to leave our jazz blues adventure here. Though I think we'll keep coming back to this. I might add a chord melody jazz blues piece just for fun and practice, especially for the people who want that. But I don't foresee adding more tunes. I'd considered looking at the work song, da 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 da. Awesome song. It's a 16-bar blues. Maybe we'll look at it down the road, but I thought it best to stick to 12-bar blues. And another song, and that one's in F, and another song, Moanin', dun, 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 bum, bum, by Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, another great classic piece, but it's got some weird gospel-y kind of changes to it, not as standard, though either of those you could pilfer parts of those tunes, the work song or Moanin', and you know, as fodder for your solos or little jumping off points. My hope has been that the blues, we've learned some ways to add 2 5 1s to the world of blues to enhance it, add to the harmony. I find, and Daryl, you can see what you think, you know, in the blues class, but and anyone else who's doing both of these, but I think it's easier to solo over the harder changes than it is over C7, F7, C7, ding 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 ding. You've got to the harmony is doing nothing for you with those three chords, or very little for you. You have to make the the notes work. These chords moving are pushing you subconsciously in different directions, giving you ideas. And if you just play the fifth the whole time, it's like it sounds like a different note every time. And I'm just gonna prove it. And just give you a little bit of solo ideas here before we jump into rhythm changes. Let's play C. It feels so different against the 1 and the 4. Here comes these 5s. Now, of course, if I just played, not much is going to happen, you know, except it would make jazz players laugh. They'd be like, wow, this is gutsy. He's just playing quarter notes. But it's calling for sometimes just outlining the notes of the chords, playing. There's all kinds of ways to play with this, like I demonstrated earlier. That tune works so well, and I can't emphasize enough getting these under your fingers, where they sound good and where it sounds like music, you know. And to me, it's the kind of thing where it's really hard, and then one iteration, it's not anymore. And encourage you to get there. All right, now we're going to go to a whole new world. It includes a little bit of what we've done in the blues. I feel that I don't think there's an exact percentage. I'd say roughly a third of jazz is based in blues. And compositions there's just a lot of tunes you could find and go, okay, we got like a third of it is over here. I think that close to another third of jazz is based in what's called rhythm changes, and that was inadvertently created to a disastrous musical that George Gershwin was employed to create the music for. I believe it was called Girl Trouble, and I think it lasted like a week, or maybe not, maybe just the weekend, and they were like, oh, okay, that one's over. And this song, however, became the basis for jazz, and it's really awesome. it's also, I think you could look at, I don't think he invented the 1 6 2 5 chord progression. It had been used before. But the way the rhythm syncopates with the melody, the secondary chords that happen. And so rhythm changes is usually a form of A. So it's kind of just want to know that, so that we're going to have three A's in a row, but one of them will be the last, the next one will be the first, and the next one will be the second. So it's A, B, A, B, A. And it gets kind of mushy which one you're on. So just trying to keep that form, and then knowing that, and if you're listening to jazz, just like try to impose that form. If it's blues, it's just A. It's there's almost never another thing in a blues tune. It's just an A section, 12 bars or 16 bars, over and over and over. So now we've got two sections. I'll jump in and I'm going to start with the harmony, and I'm going to make the bold decision to start on the B section. So the A section of rhythm changes, or we're going to look at actually I Got Rhythm, the song, and then we'll go down the road with many iterations of rhythm changes. But this is where it comes from. But and there's a lot of ways to play the A section, and a lot that gets done with it. But the B section is the B section. If there's a variation, it would be on beat 3 of the last measure. And this is good to know, listening wise, how many tunes use these chords for a B section in jazz. It's just all over the place. So I'm going to jump in. I'll just do a screen share with this, and we'll just loop this a little bit. But we've got the D7, which is the 3, usually 2 measures of that. G7, which is the 6. And these are all dominants. They're all dominant chords. C7, which is the 2, and then F7, which is the 5. And I'll just play this so you can kind of hear it and play along. And this rhythm is just like an idea of where the chords are to learn it, but, and again. And there's a little bit of influence from ragtime in these changes, and once more, D7, G7, C7, F7, last time, 3, 6, 2, 5. Now, what key are we in?
B flat.
B flat. And we could, I love that when the disembodied voice comes in for me. It's like God came down and said B flat. And it's right. And one way you could know that is that I've told you that F is the 5 chord. So it wants to go there to a B flat. Um, but getting this B section, and we'll look at, there's all kinds of things you can do with this. But one thing to note is that the D7 is not in the key of B flat. The G7 is not in the key of B flat. The C7 is not in the key of B flat. The F7 is. So it gets kind of interesting when we get into soloing over this. Fun changes to play, and once you hear them, especially, well, really, I think by the 30s, it's all over the 40s and deep into the 50s and often into the 60s, these changes are on most recordings. Most albums have one song at least with that, whatever rhythms. A lot of times, and we've got, I think, Charlie Parker to thank or blame for this, because he could play rhythm changes at around 220 beats per minute, with 16th notes, and solo, and it, like, nobody had quite cracked the code like that before. These tend to be really fast. We're not going to get there, and string instruments don't normally, unless it's Django Reinhardt and that kind of style, or just the real shredders. Most people slow this down for stringed instruments. So the basis of this is, and also I'll just say, we're mostly in the key of B flat, and there's some outliers in this progression, but it starts out with just a 1, 6, 2, 5, and we're playing a B flat major 7. What you kind of wished when you were learning ukulele that a B flat was. 3, 2, 1, 0, very mellow sounding chord, right into that G minor 7, 0, 2, 1, 1, into a C minor 7, 3, 3, 3, 3, into an F7, which we just had, and recent blues in F. And that's a 1, 6, 2, 5. Another thing is, it's not universal, but it's certainly, like, blues can be in a lot of different keys. Rhythm changes are mostly in B flat. And this can be another thing that really helps you understand as a listener, and just go, there are 11 other keys, and every once in a while somebody will do an E flat, or some other key, but the strict rhythm change, there's a ton of music in B flat this way. And so I'll have to go back to the screen share and just go through these chords, because the melody of this song is, like, so easy. All right. All right. Let me supersize this a little bit. Okay. Yeah, so we've got this. I just put it on the beat here for simplicity. Want to know it's B flat major 7, G minor 7, C minor 7, F7, but more importantly, that it's a 1, 6, 2, 5, and it repeats. Now it does a really cool thing. It creates a 2-5-1 of an F minor 7, a B flat 7, E flat. So a 2-5-1 here, whoops, in E flat. And a 2-5-1 in A flat, but all dominant, or with all major chords. But then our string ends and it's almost a 2-5-1 of the E flat, A flat. There's a 2-5, but that would be a sharp 5 compared to that. So, but that's just the 3 of the key. But let me play these changes. And then so it makes it kind of convenient that it ends there on a 3-6-2-5 and then starts over again on the 1-6-2-5. I'll play through it a few times. I think this is a friendly enough tempo. Maybe not. I'll knock it down a little bit, and here we go. 2, ready, and B flat, G minor, C minor, F7. Now the F minor, E flat, E flat, A flat. And if that's too fast, I'll slow it down a little bit more. And I also want to model some different ways of approaching this stuff. Here it is at 95. And 1, 2, ready, and all first position, and then moving up there. Stays on the B flat, and here comes that B section. And back where we started. The rhythm. 1 and staying on the downbeat is fine too, because the melody syncopates. You can kind of go either way with it. A lot of times you hear that it's got staccato. that is going to take us into a whole new world. Um, I'm curious to see. I'm going to go gallery here with you all. Great just for practicing the chords. I've never heard this played at a tempo like that. I think a ballad, that was 96 beats. I think a ballad tempo would probably be more like 120. But believe it or not, just to hear, this would be like Charlie Parker territory. And after a while, you might, there can be a really cool benefit from trying to play things way fast, is that your brain just gives up in a sense, but you can simplify things and you can get the form faster because it's moving so quickly. Whereas if you're doing it really slow, you're trying to get B flat 7, that you never understand the form because it's like takes 3 minutes to get through the form, to memorize that. So another thing would be like playing every other chord at a tempo like that. And even going, oh wait, there's been like songs that just have that kind of movement in them. A lot you can do, mix and match, play around with it, do what you want. This melody, super simple, but really, like, there's a reason we're still talking about Gershwin. Wrote a lot of catchy tunes. I'll take the melody. I don't know. I'll take it to around 120. I just think it pops a little bit more there. And I'll show you, especially for anybody coming in on the video. I'll play through this a few times, but I'll pin the video here. First position, then third position, back to first. Up, so it's just F, G, B flat, C, D, and E flat. Doesn't even use the A. And I'll play along a little bit. And you can play along too if you'd like. Here we go. One, oops, come on. So many buttons, my computer doesn't know which screen to believe here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. A little syncopation is good. Really good practice. Fifth position here. Third there. And it doesn't syncopate at the end. So that is one of these embedded little things that it is telling you, this is the last time, by the way. This is the A, A, B, A. And the next times it will syncopate. You could easily use that as a solo or as a basis of a solo. between that and the chords, there's so much you can do, and we'll open this up a bit more next time, and I think we'll just do a complete dive into a tune or two with this and explore possibilities. I just wanted to open that door and kind of show you what can happen with these chords, this sweet little melody, and there's so many other melodies that could go over this. Any questions while we're here at the moment? Any answers? No? Okay. Let's just play chords, play the tune. Let's get a feel for this. We'll be at 120 now. And cool thing about this. I got a question. Yeah, I forgot. I'm part of this too. Here's my question. With all of these chords, is this going to be harder, easier, or about the same to solo on as the blues jazz that we've had? I'm trying to read your faces to see who has the right answer. I feel like Marianne. She knows something over there. I don't know what it is. No? Okay. I'm going to go a whole different direction. I'm going to take out this melody and I am going to play the B flat major scale. B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat. I might throw that C and D, or that A or that G, but I'll only use those notes for the A section. And then we'll explore something on the B section. Play along, play some chords, or we can do like an Allman Brothers thing, and you can play a twin lead as I play the B flat major scale against some chords that are not even in the scale. Whoops, let me get the volume here. This doesn't seem right. Turn this up a little bit. Okay. One more time. I think rhythm changes is so melodic, and us being born, in a major key, really, and in a major scale, if we're born in a country with a Romance language at its root, it might be different for Grace. I don't know, or anybody else who has a language or that isn't based on, or in this case, the major scale. Real fluent. English and all the Romance languages are the tonalities of the words and the phrasing is all around the major scale. That can be really useful, and it's easier to make longer phrases. Ton you can do with it. We'll get into the nitty gritty of what to do over the D7. How do you approach that? The G7, how do you approach that? The C7, how do you approach that? Or I could just tell you. I don't know. Either way. I'll just tell you. So, if we think of the major scale, in this case B flat, we want to know that. Third fret of the fourth string, B flat, C, that's the open C string, D, second fret of the C string, E flat, third fret, F, first fret of the E string, G, third fret, A is open, B flat. Notice I dropped octaves there in my voice, but not on the uke. This D7, I could just make a D7 right here and go, A is in the key of B flat, D is in the key of B flat, C is in the key of B flat. That F sharp, we call an F sharp, and a D chord is not in our key. So, one possibility, instead of doing, I could go, instead of the, which note? F. Yeah, sorry, here's what I do. I would substitute the F sharp for the F. I believe that's a G harmonic minor scale, but you don't have to think of it that way. We're just taking the note that's in the chord and taking the half step note away from it that's not in the chord. Let me just show you real quick, like over that D7, what that might sound like. Just hearing that chord over and over, it's hard to put context into it, but that F sharp is the third note of that chord. D, F sharp, A, and C. Remember that for a second. If I move over to the G7, same idea, except now I've got a G, a B, a D, and an F. G is in our key, D is in our key, F is, B natural is not in the key of B flat. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to substitute a B natural for the B flat of the B flat scale. Sounds kind of crazy. That's like the Lydian mode. Maybe I might be wrong. Sounds like it. If I play that over the G7, it could work. It certainly sounds exotic, but I don't think this is where thinking like in scales, I think that's too much thought. Just change one note of that major scale to adapt to these three chords, three of the four chords of this B section. And the B note of the G7 is the third, just as F sharp is the third. We go to a C7. Guess what number is not in the B flat scale? Is it the 1? C? C is in there. It's E, the third, again. So we're just changing the third every time of these chords are kind of cycling. The thirds are out of key. The 1, the 5, and the flat 7 are in the key. That's what makes these really, really cool, and the possibilities endless of the sound. But this C7 now, if I change the E flat to E, well, here's what we have. And by itself, it sounds kind of weird. Anybody know what scale that is? It's a weird scale on the uke because we can never get the roots. It's an F major scale. In this case, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat. So, let's just test that. Okay, I'm starting to believe. Now if I can put this together and remember what I just told you for long enough to get through these, and then on the F7 I just go back to the B flat major. Here's what could happen. Whoops, I did something wrong. What did I do wrong? Try it again. Phrases can be really small. You don't have to play the whole scale. And that's another reason why I lean away from teaching scales too much with this, because people are inclined to learn the scale linearly and then try to make that work musically, where a lot of times you can just play 3 notes or something and you can get a lot out of it. So I deputize you as rhythm change beginners, and to get in there and make some racket. Any questions before I throw you out into the tundra for another month, but it'll be a new year. It'll be 2024 the next time I see you. Um, Cool. And I finally added you, Grace, to the Facebook group. I just saw that the other day. I would love to see the video of what you were um, trying to share with us in the open mic. And I'll keep you posted. We'll have another open mic, I don't know, February or March, kind of see where we're at. And I have some more jazz jams. But wish you a happy, healthy, peaceful end of your year, and I'll see you down the road. And always hit me up with any questions or any triumphs or issues. All right. Thank you. Bye bye.